So one of the more popular books you've written is Her Hand in Marriage, which is an introduction to biblical courtship. This has been a topic in the evangelical church. Harris's book, I Kissed Dating Goodbye. Can you kind of introduce us to the concept, how we lost our way so badly in this area, and how it's going as we seek to recover it?
Yeah, there are numerous factors in how we lost our way. One of them being the invention and mass manufacture of the automobile, where it used to be in the old days, if a man wanted to pay court to a young lady, he had to come over to her house, and it took him a half an hour to get over from the neighboring farm. And after the automobile became widespread, it was, the cultural structures weren't able to say no. I mean, a guy could come over and take her out for the evening and be in the next state, So that was the old system presupposed the authoritative involvement of the young lady's father in her and interest in her purity, in her preparedness for marriage, and so on. And so a young man who came to court a young lady had to get by or through or around the father. The father was on site. He had to be reckoned with. So after that shifted, we went into what I call the recreational dating system, which predominated in the 20th century. And as time developed, some of the negative consequences of that began to become more apparent. And in the early days of our church, we had a handful of young people who were coming up into that age group, and I thought, we really need to think differently about how this is all going. What does the Bible say about life between the sexes? And so I preached a series of sermons on biblical courtship. Went back to the Bible. What does the Bible have to say about all of this? And discovered that there are quite a few biblical principles that pertain to the subject. And I would boil it all down. So having said that, let me run ahead and caution against what I call courtship nerds. Courtship nerds are people who want the Bible to say, give detailed instructions, as though courtship and marriage were a paint-by-numbers kit. So what does the Bible say about how close a young man can sit to the young lady on his third visit to the house? That's a courtship nerd question. But set aside methods for the time being. We have to come back to methods later, but we have to master the principle first. And the boiled down, the central principle of biblical courtship is that biblical courtship presupposes the authoritative and affectionate involvement of the young lady's father in a developing relationship between a young man and a young woman. So it's not just a young man takes an interest in a girl and takes her out until he decides he doesn't like her anymore, or vice versa. That there's someone there who is a chaperone, a protector. There's an adult on the premises. So my book, Her Hand in Marriage, is arguing for a biblical basis for dad to understand what his assigned role is. Now, if dad just steps in and says, I've got authority here, but he has no wisdom, then it's just going to make it far, far worse than recreational dating. I sometimes joke that courtship means that you have 6 idiots involved instead of 2. And you don't want to do that.